Okay. Likutei Moharan, today we are starting, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're starting Torah base. Torah base. We're going to start with the Pasuk. This is a Torah which is Lashon Rabbeinu. ותהילה לדוד, ארוממך, אלוקי המלך, ואורך שמך, לעולם ועד. This is what we're saying in Ashrei. תהילה לדוד, ארוממך. This is known as the Torah Tila LeDavid. Says Rabbeinu as follows, מה שאנו רואים שעל פי רוב הלומדים חולקים על הצדיקים. ודולמים על הצדיק בגר ובבוז. We see that the London, aka Litvakis is the way that usually they call him. They speak on the tzaddik derogatory things, and many times sheker, mamash sheker. This is what Rashi says on this. Atak means derogatory stuff in sheker. Begar vevuz, with pride and with derision. Says Rabbeinu zeu b'chuvan godol mes Hashem yizbarach. In other words, the Kodesh Baruch Hu makes this happen purposely. So, because there are very, very great tikkunim which happen through this. No, you want it from both sides.
Oh, I didn't say that. That's a microphone. Sorry.
It's stereophonic, man. Don't you know that?
Foreigners from China.
Yes. It's stereophonic. Because this brings about very great rectifications. And now the Rebbe is going to espouse and explain rather bluntly the mahos of the learners and of the tzaddikim and the way that they learn, until at the end the Rebbe will explain what, who these are, who those are, and what is the tikkunim that are, that come about the fact that the loimdim, the learners, dispute on the tzaddikim. Now, it does not mean chas v'chalila, that all the tzaddikim, chas v'chalila, that huge, great tzaddikim, like Chofetz Chaim, Chazon Ish, Stipler, and Chaim Kanievsky. Of course, they're great people. It says, but it's a common occurrence, the middle management level. It's like that they have, they get into the mindset of only learning Torah, not realizing, the importance of the tzidkus. That the Rebbe talks about it. That I heard the Nosson Ben Shamin years ago. He told me what people didn't understand about the Chazon Ish, what the Litvakas, that revered him, did not understand about him, was his oitzim kedushosei, how sanctified he was. This they didn't get. He could learn, but always. But they didn't. It's kedusha. They couldn't get. The Stipler Zecher Tzaddik was his. He had Likutei Tfilas when you couldn't even sit in Breslev around Lutvakas without everybody like exploding and giggles and laughter. And it's like splitting their sides. The Stipler used to say Likutei Tfilas. He used to learn Likutei Halachas. His Likutei Tfilas was awash with tears. Not all. Maybe I told Secham Balev about it. So he says, what do you want to tell me? It's not about Zerach. He don't know Zerach. What's the Chiddush? Rabbeinu says as follows, and the words that Rabbeinu says are pretty sharp. Ki yesh b'chinas Yaakov v'Lavan. Is the b'china of Yaakov and the b'china of Lavan. Oh man, these are the two polar opposites. One is the perfect representation of Kedusha, and the other is the epitome of Tumah. The Midrash says that Lavan and Bilam is one thing. Lavan is talking about the whiteness, the Lavan Elyon. Lavan Elyon is Chinas Ensof. It's the reach. That's the highest reach of the Tumah. Can reach all the way to the whiteness, which boggles the mind. How is it possible, B'chlal? Yaakov hu atzadik. Yaakov is the aspect of the tzaddik. Hamechadish Kedushim Doraisa. That is mechadish original Kedushim in the Torah. And he's learning the Torah lishma. What's the pshat? He's learning the Torah lishma. That he's learning the Torah to find out what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to tell him. As Rabbi Levi Yitzchak is saying, he's learning the Torah, so he should be able to eat properly, should be able to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly. Should be able to V'tuvoi, in other words, the schar, the repayment of the tzaddik, gonos v'shamur v'tzofim la'osit. It is concealed and it is kept and it is hidden la'osit for the future. כמו שאמרו, אבותינו זכרנו וחז"ל, Chazal said, ומחר לקבל שכרם. They say, היום לעשות them, today to do them. ומחר לקבל שכרם. That the main schar, the mitzvahs a person will receive in Olam Haba. Al Shem Sheschoor Lebasov. It says that the schar is in Al Shem Sheschoor Lebasov, and because the schar of the tzaddik is at the end, is Olam Haba. Hashem Zeh Nikra Yaakov. That's why he's called Dafka Yaakov. Lashon Ekev V'Sof. It's the ankle and the very end, because the schar is at the end. The schor lebasov, because the schar is at the end. The Lavan is an aspect of Talmid Chochem Shed Yehudi. Shem Yirachem. He is a Jewish demon. A Jewish demon. Sheteroso Lisyaya, that he's learning Torah in order to achieve status, normally to consider a Torah great, to be considered original, whatever, or lekanta, and to tease his friends, to show them that, hey, I know better than you, I know more than you. Here you did something wrong. Because it says here and here and here, you shouldn't do it like that. ותלמיד חוכם כזה, such a תלמיד חוכם, נווה לא טוב בהמוני. A carcass of a dead animal is better than him. That's what the Shabbos says. Matas Kahuna. That's the Midrash Rabbi says in Vayikra, Kol Tamid Chochem she'en bo das. Every Tamid Chochem that doesn't have true das in him, Nevelo Toivo Hamonoi. And Nevela is better than him. And the Midrash says like this: Tedalach Hasheken. You should know that that's the way it is. Tzel Mad mi Moshe Avia Chochma Avia Nevi. He says you should learn that that's the way it is from Moshe Rabbeinu, the father of the wisdom, the father of the Nevi'im, that took Am Yisrael from Mitzrayim, and there were tremendous nisim and the Rus came to him, on nisim in Mitzrayim, and tremendous things that he did on Yam Suf. And he went up to the Shammai, brought out the Torah, and he's misasek in Eches HaMishkan, and he would not go into the Mishkan until Kadosh Baruch Hu called him, Vayikro El Hashem Vaydaber. And Matnos Keuna said that's a pshat, that he had a das not to go in, even though who should go? Obviously, he did not go until he was specifically called. And Matnos Keuna wrote, since a Talmid Chacham that doesn't have true shikul das, presence of mind, so what he does, he is twisting and he's falsifying the Torah of his God, which is within him, which is the basis, and to his human form is called Adam. And what is left, the only thing which is left is just the chomer, it's just the material, and not the Adam. That's why Umas Ha'olam not called Adam. So, what's left of him is worse than a nevela, which is a nickname that people call a behemoth that died, or people who resemble that. That even though it's strewn upon the field, and it doesn't have any life force. The only thing it lacks is just one mile. That's the life force. It used to have when it was still alive. And Chazal said that our eyes see that the higher the keli, when somebody is alive, when it's dead, it's lower. That's why when the spirit and the body separate, the body is worse. That's why a yid that passes away is a tumas mes. A goy doesn't, is not metam tumas mes. Because the higher it is during the lifetime, the worse it is. So Talmid Chacham is that if his life force, his Torah, is twisted, what's left? It's nevela is better than that. Because nevela is, when it was alive, it's just a behemoth. Now it's just a carcass. It's a tumas nevela. But he was a Shem Erachim. Says Rabbeinu, and it is known, in order to earn the moniker Talmid Chacham is only through Torah Sheba'al Peh, through Gemara. Somebody who knows how to learn Chumash is not called a Talmid Chacham. Only somebody who is well versed in Gemara and Paiskim, he is called Talmid Chacham. When he's learning without das, in other words, he doesn't have the real das that you have to learn Shem Shamayim. He's learning, for prideful reasons. Because it's fun. He said, let me show you how unbelievably brilliant I am. Nikra Lavan, he's called Lavan. Al Shem Armumius Shenichas Bo. He's called Lavan, because of the craftiness that he's earning by learning Torah Sheba'al Peh. Because when a person learns the Kedusha the way it's supposed to be, the Torah brings Kedusha into the person. But when a person learns Torah not properly, it does the opposite. It brings into him craftiness, and he's lawyerizing. He learns craftiness and fraud to do crafty things which are not straight, which are not honest. And being that craftiness has entered into that person who's learning Torah Shalom Lishmo, he doesn't see the truth. He doesn't interpret the Torah in a way that is true. So it seems to him that the tzaddikim are not doing properly. That's the reason why he hates and he persecutes the tzaddikim. Tzadik Elyon, the Tzadik Tachton. In other words, he's learning, he hates the two tzaddikim, the upper tzaddik and the lower tzaddik. The lower tzaddik is the tzaddik who's learning the Torah. And the upper tzaddik is the Amoira, or the Tano, that was Mechadish originally, in the Gemara. There is a give and take relationship that is happening between the person who is learning the Torah and the tzaddik that was mechadish the Torah. It's a very intimate contact. It's called Pchinas Nashikin. It's called kissing, because the Torah of the tzaddik is the ruach of his mouth. So you have in your mouth the ruach of the mouth of the tzaddik was mechadish. It's like you're kissing him. It's called histadkus rucha berucha. It's the adhesion of ruach and ruach. The tzaddik elyon, the tzaddik tachton. Yeah. Now the Rebbe explains why this is happening. What's the reason? Ki shchinto ben trein tzaddikai hayatva. The Shechina, which is Spheres of Malchus, it's the last sphere from the 10 spheres. That's the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which resides in this world. It sits between two tzaddikim, as the Zohar says. On the pasuk, tzaddikim yushu eretz. What do you mean tzaddikim yushu eretz? Tzaddikim trei mashma. Tzaddikim, the minimum of tzaddikim, of plural, is 2, right? Minimum of rabbim is 2. Tzaddikim yushu eretz, minimum 2. Tzaddikim trei mashma means 2. Eretz, tzaddikim eretz is the malchus. This is the Shechina, which is Spheres of Malchus. Tzaddikim yushu eretz, tzaddikim shall inherit the land. In other words, the eretz, which is the Shechina, it sits between two tzaddikim. Shnei tzaddikim eilu, and these two tzaddikim, and ze tzaddik shechidesh ze Torah shebal peh. The first one is the tzaddik that renewed, that created this Torah shebal peh. In other words, the Tano or the Amoira that was mechadish the din and halacha. Ze tzaddik elyon. This is called the upper tzaddik. The tzaddik atachton, that's the lower tzaddik. Ze shalom the chidushim. That's the one who's learning the chidushim. And between them is the Shechina. Torah shebal peh, hainu shchinto. The Torah shebal peh is between them. There's the Torah between the one who's mechadish and the one who's learning. Kmo shekosuv malchus peh, in Pasach Eliyahu, but Torah shebal peh karin. We call malchus is the peh, and we call it Torah shebal peh. We call it Torah shebal peh. We call it. In other words, the dibur, which is the malchus, because there's no such thing as a king without a nation of Surah. And melech b'lo'am. And the melech, how does the melech reveal what he wants, his orders? By talking, right? By expressing it. And more specifically, the Torah Shebal Peh is the Pchinas Malchus, Pchinas Dibur. Because it is said in the mouth and it's not written. I mean, the fact that we have it written down today is because Es Lasos Lashem. Milchatchila, Torah Shebal Peh was not allowed to be written. So now, when a person is learning Torah, my friend, the Shechina is by him. The Shechina is by us right now. Watch out, huh?
I just saw the chair move.
וכשהשכינה נקרא תורה שבעל פה, when the Shechina, which is called תורה שבעל פה, בא בתוך התלמיד חכם של יהודי, it enters the Talmid Chacham, who is a Jewish demon that learns for Gaiva, for Kavod. זה נקרא גולוס השכינה. That is the essence of the exile of the Shechina. Because the Shechina is not where it's supposed to be, because it's in a very low and in derogatory place. And it's a tremendous ואז יש לו פה לדבר על הצדיק הצד. Then he has a mouth to open up his pisk, flap his lips at the tzaddik. Because the oasis of Dibur HaTorah that he's learning, and by a Talmid Chacham who is a Jewish demon, it becomes, it recombines, the letter of the Torah that he learns to recombine to bad Diburim, to slander, that he talks about the tzaddikim. And with this, he chases the tzaddik. He persecutes the tzaddik tachtan, the tzaddik that learns the Dibur Torah. Now that the Rebbe explained how, Talmid Chacham takes the Dibur Torah and reforms. Usually, people, accept what he's saying because Talmid Chacham, right? There's Shemirach. So now, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we will learn how he persecutes also the Tzaddik Elyon, not only Tzaddik Tachton, but also the Tzaddik Elyon.